Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Willian. I was not expecting too many people, so bear with me. I'm a software engineer at Red Hat, and also I'm a teacher at a college during the night, so doing double shifts. Today, we're going to see how to build your first chatbot with LangChain and IBM Granite. All right, before we start, let's see what this presentation is about. So we're going to see the basics of how to build your LLM chatbot and integrate them. We're going to implement simple code with interactive chat that we can play with. And the idea here is to work locally, so you don't need to trust any other source instead of your machine and your local model. What this presentation is not about, and I'm sorry if I'm disappointing any of you. So this is not about RAG. I didn't do anything, I swear. OK. This is not about RAG. I'm not doing anything, I swear.
The stream is fine. The stream is fine.
OK, great.
It's just the people in this room. That's it.
All right. Maybe I can turn my notebook and you see. So this is not about how to use cloud services. So we're not connecting to any cloud services. This is not about RAG. This is not about create chatbot agents or workflows. And this is not creating your Jarvis, Hall, or Skynet for obviously safety reasons. OK? So what is an LLM before we go to the code? So imagine you have a super nerdy parrot that reads the entire internet, and now it won't stop giving you smart answers about everything you ask. This is an LLM. OK, technically speaking, an LLM is a model that usually based on deep learning, where you give a lot of data for it. It gathers numeric structure about it and can base it on statistical patterns, answer coherent and contextually relevant text based on what you ask. So an interesting fact, an LLM does not have context. So whenever you ask something, it will give you an answer. If you ask something again that is related, it will not know the context before. So it will give you simple answers about one simple question, OK? And it's just math. It's not fancy, intelligent something, OK? What is a chatbot? So a chatbot is like your tireless, talkative robot buddy that lives on your computer and pretends to be a human without an advantage. It doesn't need coffee, so it can answer you whenever you want. OK, technically speaking, a chatbot is a human interaction software that is usually based on natural language processing and machine learning techniques to give you answers about inputs in real time. So we want to connect both. We want to connect our chatbot software with our LLM model. Here's a diagram. So we have the user, we have question and answer, we have the chatbot software that will send information to the LLM, and the LLM will return with the answer to the chatbot, and chatbot will show you. All right. We're going to use LangChain. It's an open source framework for building and working with LLMs. It's suitable for doing chatbots, document analysis, and much more. We're going to be using Llama CPP to work with the LLM, and we're going to use IBM Granite for whatever reason. It could be any of the LLMs available in the internet. I pick up one, and it's the Granite. It's trained and released by IBM. So let's go to our hands-on. Let's do a simple chatbot with one question and one answer. here are our packages. And a note, this presentation and all the material is available on my GitHub, so you can download and run it out of the box. Download the model, you'll need it, but it runs out of the box, so you can try, you can play with it, and you can increase it. So we're going to build a small example and grow on top of it. So this is the libraries we're going to be using. And then we need to tell where is our model. So I have the model on my machine downloaded. And we set a callback manager. So a callback is a nice feature where you send a question, and it will give you a nice answer word by word. So it will not stay there without doing anything, and then all of a sudden throwing a lot of words for you. So this is an interactive way of working with the chatbot. And here's our LLM object. We create an object using Llama CPP. We set the seed, we set the callback, we set the model context, which is based on which LLM model you're using. So IBM allows 131,072 tokens. And then we have our question and our answer. So simple like that. We set a variable, and we use LLM invoke to ask a question, and then you have an answer. And as I mentioned previously, LLMs are really talkative, so I had to restrict the answer in 20 words without an explanation, because I'm using a model that can give you an explanation, and it will be a whole text here that would not fit this slide, so this is why I restricted the output. All right, we have a starting point. So let's increase it. Oh, before, let's talk about one nice feature for developers, grammars. So if you went from any area related to computer science, you probably heard about Backus no form. This is an extension of Backus no form to create grammars and use it. So the thing is, you specify a grammar for the model. Here I'm using a grammar that describes JSON. And everything I ask for the model will give me an answer based on the grammar. So I asked, list 2 of the world's 7 wonders in JSON format. And it gave me great parameter of Giza and Christie Redeemed statue. And plus gave me the location without I ask. So sometimes you need to be really restrictive of what you ask the LLM, or it will start answering what you have not asked. So this is nice when you, for example, need to build a JSON for a test on a software. So you want a JSON example. You set the grammar, ask it, and it will give you an output of JSON that you can use on a test for something. I'm sorry? The value? Yeah. For example, if you're a developer and you are writing unit tests and you need a JSON input, but you don't want to write it manually. So you get your LLM and tell your LLM, create a JSON with this, this, and that, and it will create you a JSON and you can use it on your tests. So you don't need to write all the information manually. Like if you need these 7 words, wonders, and don't want to write it manually, you just ask and it gives you in a JSON format, and you can use it on your test. Okay, let's increase our example. So we're gonna do a chat now. So the addition here is the templates. And what is a template? So a template is something that you send to the model with inputs and some rules for the model to return you what you want. So here I'm defining a simple template with a question and preparing for the answer. So And then I define the object for the prompt. And then I create a chain. So like the name suggests, LangChain creates chains. So you put a prompt, and the output of the prompt will be the input of the LLM. You can chain a lot of things there, and LangChain will work that for you. So now we can interact with the chatbot. I have a simple loop that I can write questions, and the LLM will give me answers. And unfortunately, I could not put the questions here, but I have it here. So here it is. I asked it, what is your name? And the LLM answered that it doesn't have a name. And then I asked it, what was my previous question? So as you see, there is no history. The LLM does not know what was the previous question. So it doesn't know about context. So each new question is a new answer without knowing anything about previous context. But at least you can interact with it and ask more and more questions. All right. So let's go with a chatbot with history, because we're getting out of time. So now the only change here is the history object that we will create, and the template. The template will be different. So instead of just sending a question, we will send all the previous chat that we had with the chatbot. So now it knows the previous context and knows my new question, and then can think about everything and answer me. And in the template, I say that the input variables are the chat history and the question. All right, so here I go one by one question, and ask, what is your name? And I did not pass the chat history because we don't have a chat history yet. So the LLM answered me that it doesn't have a name again. All right, so let's see if we can improve it. Then we create our object, the chat history. We add the question, the response we had. So now we have a history of our current chat. And now let's ask a new question. So let's say, what was my first question? And when I send the information to the LLM, I also send the chat history. And now it's able to know, oh, your first question was, what is your name? And here is what we've talked about. So now we have, so every time we do a new question, we need to add all the information to the history and send to the LLM again. So the LLM will know all the history and know how to answer new questions. All right. So here it is, 1 minute before I thought. All the code is available on my GitHub. You can download, you can play with it, you can create your chatbot. Please don't create Skynet. And yeah, we have 1 minute for questions if you have. Sure. Could you say again? Oh, so the question was if there is a limit of how long the history can go. So it will depend on the context. As I showed you, the LLM, the more the context, the more the history grows, the more tokens we will need to send to the LLM for it to understand. So it will be limited by the tokens of the model you're using, the context tokens. Yes? Okay. We're out of time, but we can discuss if you want out. Okay, thank you.